Hey, this is Toby Keith, and the road to Kentucky Derby starts right now.
Each year, more than 20,000 foals are born. For future champions, this is where the road begins.
Good magic to the front of the field in the bluegrass.
Audible, no doubt about it.
Justify winning the Santa Anita Derby.
At age 3, only 20 can enter the starting gates on the first Saturday of May.
All right for Justify.
This is the road to the Kentucky Derby, presented by Woodford Reserve. Today, country music superstar Toby Keith talks about being an owner, a breeder, and finding his Derby contender.
You want to get another one like that, but you can't. They're hard to find. They don't come along very often.
Also, Sol Kumin is a new kind of owner who's already making history.
That's not going to happen to us again. So it was kind of one of those, really magical days and magical weekends.
That's Harley.
And we hit the track with the most popular lead pony at Churchill Downs.
Yeah, Harley's the briar horse this year. I feel like he deserved it. I mean, he's got a lot of fans. He's very well loved all over the country.
This is Gulfstream Park here in Hallandale Beach, Florida, just south of Fort Lauderdale. Hello everyone, I'm Jordan Wetley, and thanks for joining us on this stop along the road. Each year, this track plays host to the Florida Derby, where trainers are hoping their 3-year-olds are at peak performance. But the road begins the same place it finishes, world-famous Churchill Downs. Each September, trainers are eager to see how their untested 2-year-olds will perform. It's a road full of ups and downs, twists and turns.
From neuroscience to horse trainer, Michelle Nihei found her way to the first step on the road to the Kentucky Derby with Royal Earn in the Iroquois.
Being able to bring him here, obviously a long way from getting to the Derby, but I'm on the first step.
An 8th place finish was a hard lesson for Michelle, as she now seeks a new formula to return to the road. Going into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile with the heavy favorite, trainer Bob Baffert was excited about Game Winner.
He's got the determination and he's got a great set of lungs, and that's when you really get excited about a horse.
He doesn't know how to lose. He's Game Winner.
It's the thrill of victory. I mean, enjoy today and we can dream about tomorrow.
Bob Baffert's dream has come true, winning 5 Kentucky Derbies. This year, Baffert has strength in numbers. Along with Game Winner, he has Improbable and Mucho Gusto on the leaderboard. With plenty of Derby experience, Kenny McPeak considers himself an underdog trainer and wants to find his own Kentucky Derby winner.
The challenge of finding a good young horse at auction is more of a challenge than training. Perfectly content with a $32,000 yearling. I have very little pressure on me.
McPeak's barn has 2 contenders on the leaderboard. After a 3rd place finish in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, Signalman took down the Kentucky Jockey Club under the spires. And Harvey Wallbanger hung on the rail for an upset win in the Holy Bull. On Ben Colebrook's first road to the Kentucky Derby, he's felt the twists and turns. Nick's Go fired off in his first 2 prep races, gaining 18 points.
At 70-1, Nick's Go. Tremendous upset in the Claiborne Breeders' Futurity.
Today's the dream, and I'm just hoping I don't wake up.
Ben got a wake-up call when Nick's Go was not able to hit the board in his next 3 races. Trainer Mark Cassie already punched his ticket to the Kentucky Derby starting gate as War of Will won the first 2 point races at the fairgrounds.
War of Will, Wells Welletham again, won the Risen Start.
And I have just the utmost respect for this horse. I think he has the potential to be a real superstar. We've been thinking about the Kentucky Derby for a long time, and now we're going to think even more.
Even though it's the trainers who oversee the horses on a daily basis, the owners are also incredibly involved, not just because of their investment, but because they are passionate. And no one more so than Sol Kumin. He's the new breed of horse ownership with a pretty diverse portfolio and is the focus of this week's Owner's Box.
Being at the Derby is the pinnacle. I mean, it's really when horse racing goes from being kind of insulated to being mainstream. It's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Those 2 minutes, your heart pounds. It's like nothing I've ever experienced before. The reason I think people say we have a hedge fund approach is because probably two things. One, I would say we spread our risk out. We rarely will own the whole horse. So some we own half, some we own a third, sometimes a quarter, sometimes the whole horse, but it ends up being an average of about 40% or so for our group. And then the second part is we do a lot of buying horses that are already running. So I guess you call it private purchases. A horse like Justify last year, we were able to buy part of the horse after he ran once. Part of the deal that WinStar made with us was they said, look, we'll sell you part of Justify, but you have to take Audible as well. They wanted to do a package deal. We frankly didn't really like Audible that much. So we kind of pushed back. We tried to do just Justify, and they said, take them both or no deal. So we decided to take both. We were very wrong with Audible, which was, it was good to be wrong, and we admit it. The horse turned out to be much better than we really frankly thought. So we went down to the Florida Derby.
Audible let loose on the outside to take the lead. Audible, no doubt about it.
The horse won the Florida Derby, had our whole family there, it was incredible. And then obviously on the other coast, we had Justify win the Santa Anita Derby, and that wasn't as surprising for us because at that point we started to really see how talented he was.
Justify, another exhilarating exhibition by the supremely gifted athlete. He's on a dizzying ascent to greatness.
And then they both were in the starting gate in the Kentucky Derby.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby.
And it was incredible. I mean, to run first and third.
Audible third toward the inside. They're coming to the wire. He's just awesome. Justify has won the Kentucky Derby.
That's not going to happen to us again. So it was kind of one of those, really magical days and magical weekends.
And it's going to be Monomoy Girl in the Kentucky Oaks.
Winning the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby in one weekend last year, I mean, to have horses at least run in those two races this year would be our first goal. That first Saturday in May, or first Friday, you can be, down at Churchill with your partners and your friends and your family and be able to enjoy that because it doesn't get better than that weekend.
Up next, one of the most memorable stretch runs in Kentucky Derby history.
Kind of run down the stretch like a drunken sailor. He was kind of all over the track, as I recall, but I wasn't able to get within shouting distance of him that day.
Welcome back to the Road to the Kentucky Derby, presented by Woodford Reserve.
The road to the Kentucky Derby is a long one, so let's take a look back at some of this year's earlier action set to today's new music and this week's horse tracks.
Don't try to pull me under, 'cause the flames flicker in my eyes. Don't say don't play with what can hurt you. Not everything that shines can lead you towards the light.
At 70-1, Alvin Jimenez.
And let the music light your soul. Let go of everything you can't control. Stand up, and when the smoke clears from your eyes, light up. 'Cause baby, fireflies, fireflies.
These three coming down to the line and the winners, and Tex does it.
Well defined, the local connection make every hole a winning one. War of Will runs out impressively into the cup, 1 by 4.
He doesn't know how to lose. He's game winner.
And let the
Fade to the
music
wire
light your
together,
soul.
Signalman
Let
inside,
go
got it.
of everything you can't control. Stand up, and when the smoke clears from your eyes, light up. 'Cause baby, fireflies, fireflies.
So many great horses have run right here at the Florida Derby. In fact, out of all the prep races, a record 15 have won here and gone on to win the Kentucky Derby. Always Dreaming, Barbaro, Nyquist, and Orb, just to name a few.
Down to the wire. Orb has won the Kentucky Derby for Shug McGahee.
And joining me now is trainer Shug McGahee, who trained Orb back in 2013. This year, your horse, Code of Honor, won right here at the Fountain of Youth. Orb's road went through Florida. How do these two horses compare?
Well, there is some similarities. Both of them are closers. I think that probably Code of Honor might be a little more efficient in what he does than Orb was at this time. You know, I thought Orb was, when he ran in the Fountain of Youth, he ran a really good race, but I thought he was still a little bit spotty. And when he got to Kentucky, he wasn't spotty. But, you know, where this horse kind of, in the Fountain of Youth, he was going inside of horses and outside of horses and this and that, where we had to, he can stop and start, Orb couldn't start and stop.
Okay, well, best of luck with Code of Honor. Thank you so much. And this year actually marks the 30th anniversary of the 1989 Run for the Roses, which you were a part of. So let's take a look back at this classic in the Kentucky Derby Flashback.
When you think about some of the greatest matchups in horse racing history, two things come to mind. You had, of course, Affirmed and Alydar of 1978, but then there was Sunday Silence and Easy Goer in 1989.
Going into the Derby in 1989, I was on a horse called Easy Goer. I felt very confident going into the race. He'd been training well, running well all spring. And then as the afternoon wore on, I was feeling even better because I won the first 5 races leading up to that.
Packed day. Again, he won the 3rd race, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and attempts to make it 6 in a row.
A new Sunday Silence coming from the West Coast was a horse to beat. A big rivalry that was kind of brewing between the East Coast and the West Coast.
Number 10, second favorite in this race. This is Sunday Silence. Patrick Valenzuela on his back.
Sunday Silence was a little black horse, but he had a lot of heart. Easy Goer was the big, good-looking horse. It was just perfect. Everything was set up for this big match.
This is what thoroughbred racing is all about. They're all in line and they're off. And Sunday Silence at the start comes right in.
When they came out of the gate, Sunday Silence, he took to the mud. Easy Goer kind of dropped back.
And Easy Goer is 5th at this point on the outside in great position, passing the stance for the first time.
I was really struggling pretty much the whole race. The track was kind of greasy. At no point did I feel like I had any horse up underneath of me.
Sunday Silence comes out a bit from the rail in 4th, and Pat Valenzuela looks over his shoulder and sees that it's Pat Day in 5th on the outside with the favorite Easy Goer.
Sunday Silence was in front of him every step of the way. He could handle the turns. He was nimble, kind of pulled away from Easy Goer. When they hit the stretch, he had the lead, and Easy Goer made his run down the stretch, but there was no catching Sunday Silence.
Sunday Silence with Pat Valenzuela comes over, has a little contact with Northern Wolf on the inside.
Kind of run down the stretch like a drunken sailor. He was kind of all over the track, as I recall, but I wasn't able to get within shouting distance of him that day.
16th of a mile to go, and here comes Sunday Silence through the stretch, coming to the finish of the Derby. Sunday Silence wins this Derby by 2 lengths.
Sunday Silence was just the better horse that day. That was one of the great rivalries of all time. Going in and coming out proved that those were 2 great horses. It was a great Derby.
If you want to create your own flashback and experience the Kentucky Derby in person, just visit KentuckyDerby.com. Can't make it to the track? Well, you can also find everything you need to host your own authentic Derby watch party on KentuckyDerby.com. We'll be right back.
Coming up next, how Toby Keith's passion for horse racing began.
Anytime I was on the road, like before I had a record deal, I always loved to go to the track. And I bought my dad that first horse, and when it won its first start, it was like, we need to get another one, right?
And later, a magical moment that never gets old.
It's the energy. It cheers you up a little bit every time, and I've been here for 33 Derbies.
Welcome back to the road to the Kentucky Derby, presented by Woodford Reserve.
The excitement of horse racing attracts all types of people, some with wealth, some with fame, all with passion. And there's one man that fits into all 3 categories as we profile country music superstar Toby Keith in this week's Connections.
Come on!
He's coming. Here he comes. Here he comes. Here he comes. It's exhilarating.
Come on!
Come on, baby.
Come on!
Come on.
Come on!
Get him. When you're standing out there on the balcony or down by the winter circle and they come pounding by.
Come on, baby! Come on!
It's a surreal, live kind of thing. Isn't that fun? Anytime I was on the road, like working regional before I had a record deal, I always loved to go to the track, but never thought about owning one until I came in with some money and I bought my dad that first horse, and when it won its first start, it was like, we need to get another one, right? And that was many another ones ago. I had a song called Dreamwalker. About the time I bought a farm and built a full training center.
We had a 40 stall barn, covered round pens and walkers, exercisers, a 7/8 mile racetrack. We was going to have 3 or 4 mares and some horses at the racetrack, and over about 6 years there, we wound up with 100 mares, and we had 60 or 70 horses at the racetrack. It kind of ballooned pretty fast, and it turned into from a kind of a hobby of his to a full-time job.
Congratulations. Good ride, son.
Yeah, great
All right,
ride.
pal. The great thing about breeding horses is when you breed to a $4,000 sire with a mare that made $40,000, then you're running against $600,000-$700,000 Keeneland and Fazig Tipton purchases in these big stakes, and you're outrunning them. It's a beautiful thing. Mad science.
It's a tough game, and he's tried hard at it.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice, Philly there. I don't like second, though.
Nobody does.
The Derby's the one you want to win. Yeah, that's the one that everybody wants to hang on their wall and say, I won the Kentucky Derby. But God, it's hard to get there. You'll start on the Derby trail and you'll see all these great horses, and it's one by one, they'll just start falling out. It'll look nothing like that April 1st. I guess that's the most frustrating part about this business is that you work so hard to get that one horse.
They turn for home. Cactus Ridge in front.
He was undefeated 2-year-old.
Cactus Ridge wins the Arlington-Washington Futurity by 3.5 lengths.
Win 3 stakes and set track records in 2 of them.
Cactus Ridge runs them into the ground.
I mean, we were literally on our last workout with Cactus Ridge and going to stick him on a plane, send him to Santa Anita.
They let him work between the races, and he is going to the Breeders' Cup.
And they checked him and said he had heat in his knee, and it was all over with the next day. Done forever.
We bred lots of mares the next few years, you know, and we never have reproduced Cactus Ridge, but we're still trying.
I mean, that'll hook you. You want to get another one like that, but you can't. They're hard to find. They don't come along very often. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Way to go.
Thank you.
Anytime you have players like him in a horse business, it's a positive.
Raymond, how you been, buddy?
He's got 80, 90 horses at the racetrack, and those, you know, every trainer wants somebody like that.
I enjoyed the fact that he's so black and white, and he just calls it like it is. There's no Hollywood pretense about him at all.
Good ride, pal.
I don't know how it ends. He'll be in the horse business a long time, and he enjoys it. It's kind of his hobby, and enjoys as much as anybody as I ever worked for or been around.
That's what horse racing business is, your dream walk. Everything's a roll of the dice. The next one is too, and it's exciting. You gotta live on the edge a little bit.
Thanks to Toby for sitting down with us, and he tours every year, so make sure you go to tobykeith.com/tour for upcoming dates and locations.
Coming up, Jordan saddles up.
All right, here we are. We're at Churchill Downs on the racetrack.
It never gets old being out here, does it?
Oh, never gets old. Never gets old. I love it here.
Welcome back to the road to the Kentucky Derby, presented by Woodford Reserve.
These horses are called ponies, and they may have it made in the shade right now, but on race day, they step into the spotlight, escorting the thoroughbreds around the track and to their starting gate. And at Churchill Downs, there's one pony that stands high above the rest. Let's meet him in this week's Around the Downs, presented by White Claw.
Pull him out. All right, here we are. We're at Churchill Downs on the racetrack.
Goodness. It never gets old being out here, does it?
Oh, never gets old. Never gets old. I love it here.
How long have you been out here? How many Kentucky Derbies?
I've done 33 Derbies. My father was a trainer in Nebraska, Tom Hawkins, and I grew up on the racetrack. And I had always dreamed of being at Churchill Downs. After I watched Secretariat win, I'm like, someday I'm gonna make it to Churchill Downs. Sure enough, here I am.
Here you are, right? Kentucky Derby, I mean, what makes being out here on that day different than any other race day for you?
Oh gosh, it's the energy. I can't describe it. It's just like, wow. We come out of the paddock and they sing the Old Kentucky Home. It tears you up a little bit every time, and I've been here for 33 Derbies.
I mean, your job here is so important. Without these ponies, the races don't happen. So can you tell me a little bit about what you guys do out here?
Gonna be an easy, safe bunch to deal with today. I'm dealing with the number 2 in here. Well, this is a cute horse, ain't it? Come here, girls. You want to pet the pony? She looks like she's fired up, doesn't she? We're out here as babysitters, pretty much, with their lead ponies, and we call them ponies, although they're not ponies. They're big, heavy horses. A lot of thoroughbred ponies I have, but these two are a little different. This is Harley.
Hi, Harley.
Harley, yep, that's his name, all right.
Harley is a pretty big star around here, and people know his name. I mean, can you tell that he takes a sense of pride when he's out escorting?
Yeah, he loves his job. He's proud to be out here.
I went into the museum and I saw the Breyer horses, Secretariat, California Chrome, American Pharaoh, and Harley now.
Yes.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Harley's a Breyer horse this year. I feel like he deserved it. I mean, he's got a lot of fans. He's very well loved all over the country.
And I hear he's one of the best sellers.
Yeah, they say he is. They can't hardly keep him on the shelves.
Flying off the shelves.
Yeah. Harley, you want a drink? You know, we want to keep our ponies happy too. We want them to enjoy their jobs too, because they do work hard. All my ponies work every race, every day, and it's a lot of work. It's hard work for them.
Happy pony, happy racehorse.
That's it.
Thank you so much for taking me out here and teaching me all about these horses, and I know they've got to get back to the stable, so let's go.
Okay, well, I'm glad you got to come out and see how it really works.
Honestly, being on horseback at Churchill Downs, it just doesn't get any better. And if you'd like to see Monty and Harley in action, just go to KentuckyDerby.com for tickets. Okay, that does it for us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next stop along the road to the Kentucky Derby.
Okay, let's get right here. Okay, we're gonna do a little video together. Okay, 3, 2. You're gonna bite my hand. Okay, no more.